Okay, do I need to start over?
No,
So,
you're
okay. Item number 1 on our agenda is minutes of the previous meeting. That is from May 28th, 2024. If there's any questions or comments, otherwise I will entertain a motion to accept the minutes. A motion from Killian, second from Gisselman. Questions or discussion? Not hearing any. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? And that carries. Item number 2. Discussion and possible action regarding the acceptance of the U.S. HUD, Housing and Urban Development, Lead Hazard Reduction Capacity Building Grant Program grant of $1,984,999. And we've got some narrative here in our packet. And I see that Liz Brodak, our EDA director, is in attendance. If anybody has any questions or if she has anything to say about this, so.
Thank you. I don't have a lot to add about this right now. I think that this is all pretty detailed in the memo, or well outlined at least. So if you have any questions, I am here.
Okay. Kelly, go ahead.
Hi, Ms. Brodick. Question, who applied for this grant?
The city applied for it, and CIP assisted in the application.
Okay, I noticed that it says, it sounds like they're proposing quite an extensive training program and research program and so forth. We don't even have funding. We don't know where funding's coming from yet, correct? So
That's
is this the appropriate time to act on this?
I appreciate the question. I feel that this is probably not the appropriate time to act on it. I think that we have two options that we can look at. However, so one of them would be asking for an extension from HUD to be able to do this program with an understanding of staff capacity. The main issue that we have right now, we have two. Well, I should say we have two. One is of funding, where the 10% match would be coming from, and one is of staff capacity. As you all know, I am leaving my position effective July 5th, and I have been a main point of contact on this grant. We do not have capacity within the department to administer this. Most communities on the webinar the informational webinar we attended last week, are hiring an additional staff person for this. So given current staff capacity, this is not the right time to act on it. So you could ask for an extension from HUD, or you could deny the grant.
And what would you propose?
Well, I feel that this is this is part of why we put this question to committee, to figure out what we should do with this. This is a very tough call. I don't think that any of these decisions should be taken lightly. I think that we do know that this is not going to impact the lead pipe grant. I wanted to put that out there because that was a concern that we've heard from various people as we've talked to people about this. So at this time, I would say unless a significant extension can be granted from HUD. And when I say significant, I mean over a year. Because when we look at my position and what that means for staff capacity in the organization, my position was vacant we had an interim for a year. What it would take to hire someone new and train them up to the capacity that they need on this grant is going to take longer than that, in all likelihood. So I would hate to accept the grant and be able and only execute poorly or not at all. This is why we're bringing it to committee. My inclination at this time is to say that we cannot accept this grant. We need to focus on the lead pipe priority that we've identified as a city. We all know that lead paint is very important. This is simply a bad timing of capacity to be able to well execute this grant.
Based on what you say and the information I've read in the packet, I would tend to agree with you that we should probably deny the grant at this time. That would be my thought.
Okay. Alder McElhaney?
Thanks.
In reading through this, I've done some grant thing, and when they ask for a dedicated person, that scares me. They expect somebody, and that's part of the grant, is to hire somebody. When I read through this, I didn't get to hear everything you said, but I would concur that I don't even know if delay would be an appropriate position going forward because of just what they want, and with all that we have to hire an additional person, plus the 190,000 that we have to input for this, the trainings, everything such as that. And isn't it, we do have some of this lead paint abatement being done by Marathon County, correct?
Yes, that's correct. And we actually do some within our department as well. When we do homeowner rehabs, we have to go in and test for lead paint if the home is built before, I believe it's 1974. And then there's remediation and relocation associated with that as well. So it is an extensive program, and right now we only have 2 contractors who work with us on this.
Right. So I would concur, I agree that we should kind of turn down this grant possibility for right now, just due to lack of staff and knowledge of what we would do with this, of how we would run this grant.
Yeah, I think, one thing to consider with this grant, it's only for lead paint identification and not for any of the abatement or remediation. So this grant will not remove any lead paint. It'll just find sources of paint in the community. And Ms. Broderick, do you know that if we decline this grant, will we be able to apply for it again in the future?
I don't know that.
Okay.
I don't know.
All right. Yep. Tierney?
Yeah, I tend to agree with Alders Killian and McElhaney. I think that staff-wise, it's a bad time. I think even for the city of Wausau, when you talk about hiring an additional staff member to do this, and then the actual expense to remediate what they would find, it's just staffing and the cost to the city. I think looking at denying this right now would be the right call.
And I just want to be clear that this, as Chair Martin's identified, this is to identify and not remediate. There would be a potential remediation grant down the road. We don't know the timing of when or if that would occur.
Right.
And then if we did, the other question that we don't know in relation to that potential remediation grant is the relocation cost, because that is a significant thing to take into account with cost to the city.
Okay. If there's no other discussion, just as a point of a procedure, we do make our motions in the affirmative. So if you wish to decline the funding, we will have to have a motion in the affirmative to accept it and then vote no on that motion. So, Alder Killian.
I'll make a motion to accept it.
Okay.
To go ahead with the grant. Is that what I need to do?
Yes. Okay. So a motion is made to accept the HUD lead hazard reduction capacity building grant program grant. Is there a second? Second by McElhaney. Are there any discussion on this? Okay. Not hearing that. All those in favor say aye. Opposed say nay. No. Okay. It is. I guess it's not carried, but the motion failed by unanimously. So thank you, Ms. Broderick, on that. Item number 3, discussion and possible action on the sole source purchase of 10 new Motorola radios for the Wausau Police Department. And there's in our packet, there is a sole source justification form here. For the radios, just a point on that, they're coming from a local vendor, and we would be receiving them at a contract price. So there is really no advantage to going out to bid for these, and we do get the advantage of keeping our purchase locally and service and support local. So the chief is here if anybody has any questions on that.
I'll move to approve.
Okay, a motion by Alder Gisselman to approve. Is there a second? A second by Killian. Any discussion? Not hearing anything. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? And that is carried. Thank you. And item number 4, discussion and possible action to approve parking lot land lease for North First Street Holding Company LLC and First Wausau Tower Parking Stall Lease Agreement. And you will notice in your packet there are 2 lease documents in here. One of them is for the parking lot stall lease, and the other one is for the land lease. That's the difference between those 2 documents. So is there any discussion on this? Alder Killian.
I just have a question. I just kind of perused the lease a little bit, and there's so much legal language, it's difficult to really go through it. But is it typical when you rent something to someone and that the police monitor the parking for them? Is that how it's typically done?
Yes, in all the parking lots that we lease, we do enforcement then.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Okay, any other questions? Not hearing any. I will entertain a motion. Okay, a motion from Gisselman. And a second from Tierney. Discussion? Not hearing anything. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? And that carries. Thank you. That's the end of our agenda, so I will entertain a motion to adjourn. Motion from Tierney. And a second from Killian. All those in favor? Aye. And we are adjourned. Thank you so much.